If you've ever woke up on a Sunday morning with the feeling that London calling and then come back with a big dub for a Victory Monday, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. It's Monday. It's Victory Monday. 13's back. Everybody's fired up. We got money to make. I'm several coffees deep. I don't have enough energy in the chat right now. Let's throw it up.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Hello, folks, and welcome back to another low-key episode of Live Trading. I'm just kidding, folks. Get fired up. Victory Monday. Let's go. I'm not even going to wait. Let's bring on 13. 13, how you doing?
Not as fired up as you are.
That's right. That's right. Not as fired up because we flew across the pond. We beat that ass, and then we flew back here victorious, ready for our Victory Monday. Let's go. I am indeed fired up. How was your weekend?
Oh, mine was great. Yeah, we had some good football. Packers got it as well. Our division just remaining strong as hell. And of course, we also had a Starship launch and catch. That was awesome. So I had a great weekend. Did you have? Yeah, you just watched that recently.
I basically just had my entire thesis for Tesla here. We'll just start with Tesla here real quick, just kind of a discussion because it's mostly conceptual. Tesla, I understand if you want to short it, if you want to pull a Lynn and Randy and you kind of want to play price action here, long and short side, and try to make your money that way, great idea. I think it's a great plan. I think Tesla's a great choice. But when it comes to long-term shorting a stock, this just goes back to what I've felt about Tesla for a while. It is extremely hard to short a stock for a company, for a guy that lands reusable rockets on barges in the middle of the ocean and then decides to have a 22-story building get caught by another building after launching it into the air. These are things that we really just haven't even seen before. And this guy, even though Tesla and SpaceX are different companies, this guy's the head of them. It's really, really impressive. And it just, to me, it makes it not possible to short because you have no idea what's coming the next day. You have no idea what the next big thing is. I agree with you, 13. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if you folks have not watched it, if you folks have not watched that video, you absolutely should. It's not him, it's his people. Fairchild, this is technically true, but please understand that without him and his vision, none of this stuff happens. None of this stuff happens without Elon and his vision. It is both of them. Book it. So anyway, Tesla, really impressive stuff. Tesla's trading up here. You want to start with the SPY, and then we can kind of roll into all that other stuff. I didn't even check the chat. I hope you guys are as fired up as I am.
Yeah, I'll get to some questions here. JJ, kids are here. They're fine. They had the day off. We also had a question about how do I calculate price targets when watching the stock play? Previous support and resistance. So if you look to the left, you'll see the peaks and the troughs. Those tend to be the areas I'm looking for. Also, the EMAs I use provide some of that data as well. So it's a little bit. It's just taking that into those things into consideration and finding some levels that make the most sense.
I'll tell you what, we will probably have a period today where we can demonstrate and maybe dive into this a little bit more. So you know what I'll do here, just in case I will not be able to find this comment from Joey later. So I'm going to go ahead and screenshot that in case I need to refer to it. When we get some time, let's actually walk through that. Real quick, Gabe is asking, what is a Victory Monday? A Victory Monday is any Monday in which the previous Sunday, the Chicago Bears won their football game. Because for a long time, the Chicago Bears didn't win a lot of football games. So when they do, it is important to take the entire Monday, which also coincides to be the start of the week, and make it amazing. Nothing bad can happen today because it is a Victory Monday, and we're going to roll that forward. We're going to use all of that positive energy rolling forward here. Okay. Elon, you're welcome for the recognition. Gabe, definitely. His people deserve all of the props for sure. But again, we are where we are because of greatness. Okay. Let's see. We are caught up here. Okay, so let's dive right into the SPY here. I'm going to go ahead and throw the charts up here. We survived last week with the PPI and CPI. Market actually is just pushing higher, and here we go. New all-time highs last week, and we are pushing higher again here in the pre-market. We are set to open at all-time highs here again today. You can also see that we are pushing up along this trend line. So this trend line that I've drawn in here has really stayed with the price action here. Now it looks like we're pushing away. So 13, maybe some other time here. Maybe you have them ready. I don't even know. We didn't even discuss it because I was just so effing excited this morning. Maybe you have some further SPY targets, or if you don't yet, we can actually kind of walk through that and see if we can find some more upside targets for the SPY here today. That being said, we also had news on China, right? We had news last week that China was going to do more stimulus, and we had news over the weekend. We're not quite sure. Some of those Chinese stocks, the big cap ones anyway, gapping down by a couple of points. So we got a lot of stuff to sort through here. Sorry, 13. What was that?
Oh, no, I was just going to, briefly say a couple of levels about the SPY. Really, it's just a matter of do we test the new all-time high we made on Friday, which was 580.33, or do we go higher? I think at this point we could continue to push higher. We're going to have a new all-time high anyway if we open up here. I think if we continue to go higher this morning or today, we're probably going to see a lot more resistance closer into the 583 handle. That would be based on what I'm looking here. That's what I would think that happens.
Honestly, just kind of looking at the chart, some of the previous moves, some of the previous levels and ranges, 583 actually seems right on, frankly, for something that we can do, here today. So we'll see here. A couple other reminders about this week, folks. I'm going to be with you guys Monday and Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I will be out. We do have 13 is kind enough to stick around. I am bringing in some help for 13. I do not believe that we will have Tim Melvin on Wednesday, and I do not believe we will have an Anne-Marie show on Friday. So just kind of a look ahead here. Monday and Tuesday as normal. We expect to have Matt Maley on here today, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, there will still be trades. There will still be a show, but I won't be here as I am going to take some paid time off, and then I will be back with you next Monday. By the way, next Monday will not be a Victory Monday because the Bears have a bye week, so it is impossible for them to lose. But I promise you this, folks. I promise you this. I'll come back with good ideas and in the exact same type of mood. So don't you worry about that. Okay, 13. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the different movers here. Then we can come back and take stocks from the chat here for whatever you folks are looking at here. So let's go ahead and go over and start that process here. Let's click on my movers workspace. Let's go to the chart and let's start here with Verb. Ticker VERB. This is Verb Tech company. This is ripping here. Stock closed at about $7 here, and it's up almost 100% here today. It's actually up 80-something% here. It says 78.4. It's actually up a little bit more than that in the 14 handle. Verb Technology shares trading higher on the press release for news initially released on October 11th. The company's CEO in an October 10 shareholder letter highlighted its cash balance and implied the stock is undervalued. Okay, so 13. This, to me, this is interesting here. This seems like stale news, but the stock's reacting today. What do you make of Verb here? And actually, real quickly, before we get into that, before I ask you about your opinion here, Verb, this is what we consider one of those micro floats, under 1 million shares here. On average, the stock trades 326,000 shares per day. We're already above 6 million here today. So some wild stuff going on here with Verb, ticker VERB. 13, you have anything on this one?
Didn't cover this one, but I can tell you that this is moving on relative volume. So that news, yes, you're right. It came out on Friday. It's got a lot of volume on that day. So I think that we're just seeing a continuation of that. This is a relative volume play. You know how we've looked at cash positions when we were looking at some of these junkier names. It's kind of for this reason that we look at it, because this is kind of like an implied value of what the company at least at the very minimum has. Its cash is kind of translates into a market cap of sorts. So what we're looking at here is that they are saying that it should be at 22 based on their cash position. That means we could see a lot of fireworks today, especially with the float being as low as it is. And that's really all I've got on this one. It's mostly that we're moving on relative volume.
Yeah, I think you hit it right there. First of all, our chat has literally brought the comedians out of the woodwork here. Jay Rice, of course, prefers nouns. So does Robert. He also prefers nouns. But we're talking about verbs at the moment. Here's the thing. And if you, shout out to Benzinga Pro here, because you can actually kind of piece together what happened. I'm assuming this is exactly what our news desk team did earlier. You can see here on Friday, we actually did have some comments that we posted in the news feed. In fact, Verb was halted, I believe, several times on Friday. Verb Technology CEO Rory Kutuya, I butchered his last name, but I don't care, said on October 10th, assuming all three of these businesses are worth zero, no value whatsoever, and we trade on nothing more than liquidation value, cash in the bank, we should be trading at more than $22 per share right now. Okay, and then there's also some other links for the SEC in there, from documents from the SEC, excuse me. So this was the news that was put out on Friday. This lit the fire for Verb on Friday. But what's going on today, this morning, is we actually get the press release, the chairman and CEO letter to stockholders. So you're right on it being relative volume, because this really got kicked up on Friday. But I think what also happened here is that they kind of hinted at what they were talking about from the press release on Friday and then released the press release today. And that's why I think you kind of have this delayed slingshot effect almost with the price. But you bring up a really good point here. This news does seem pretty good. We'll see which way this goes. However, keep in mind that there were some initial reactions to this news on Friday. So with that being said, this is definitely one I want to watch the opening print on. You can see how extended we are here from the VWAP alone today. We also, prior to the CEO talking on Friday, the stock was $5.50, and right now it is just under 14. So let's see if we can get a little bit of settling out here with the price. Ticker VERB should be in play here for trades today. Okay, let's keep rolling here. Next one is going to be XPON. This is Xpion 360s. Stock was $2.50 on Friday here, holding that $4 level right beneath the VWAP here. What do you got on XPON? Looks like this was a reverse splitter.
Yes, on the 9th last week, they did a 1-for-100 reverse split. So now the float is 539,000 shares. Company still needs cash. I don't think I noticed any other reverse splitting or anything else that went on with this company. They
Nope.
Not profitable, but hey, they reverse split recently, so that kind of gets our compliance boxes checked and makes this a interesting trade. So junk company, day trade only, but because of the recent reverse split, this could have some pretty good movement today.
Okay, really good stuff here. XPON. Let's see how that trade sitting right here at the VWAP should give us something right out of the open here. Robert's asking, how do you find price targets without historical data? Any data that we have here, Robert, you can find that in the analyst ratings tab of Benzinga Pro. So here, for example, on XPON, we only have one, but if I take something like Apple, where I know there was a bunch of historical price targets, look at all that. And then also remember, you can sort here by date. So use that analyst ratings tab in your calendar in Benzinga Pro. You should be able to get all of that information. Okay, let's get down to.
I
Go
think
ahead.
he's also kind of referring to, like, how would you calculate it using fundamentals? Because you can infer a price target based on what a company's revenue is, what their cash position is, their debt.
That's a question for an analyst. I let them do the work, and then I read their analyses.
Gotcha.
So if you want to become an analyst, actually, that might be a really good question for Tom, a former analyst who's part of our happy hour community. Maybe we could ask him that at some point. Really good stuff. But stand on the shoulders of others. If they're going to do the work, check their work and then stand on their shoulders. That's what I do here. LBPH is going to be the next one on the list. No trade here. Longboard Pharmaceutical shares trading higher after the company announced it will be acquired by Lundbeck. Okay. So this stock up 51%. Grats if you had it. No new trades here. Next on the list is going to be IVA. This is Inventiva. Shares are trading higher after the company announced that it raised up to 348 million euro to fund a phase 3 clinical trial for one of its drugs. Also, the company appointed a new chairman and director here. So this is IVA, 28 million share float, not one of our micro floats. Way over its average volume here with the phase 3 news catalyst that we have. You can see this spiked above 5, retraced 50% of the move, and has been leaking here in the pre-market. So we are beneath this VWAP. We'll see if we can recapture it here. 13, what do you got on ticker IVA?
So that's great that they've got a whole bunch of money to get their phase 3 underway. Phase 3 is going to be one of the more expensive phases they go through clinical trials. But this also has a 27.9 million share float. So it's on heavier than what we're used to, but it's not in the hundreds of millions of shares where it's one of those that barely ever moves at all in the intraday session. But for this one, I think just wait for this to open and see what we get. We could end up having a pretty good day with IVA. That cash position is certainly going to lift the market cap of this. I mean, if they just basically have a blank check to put in their bank, that's what it sounds like to me. Otherwise, if this is like a credit facility, then maybe we don't get the type of movement that I'm thinking of. I haven't done an extensive look into the 348 million euros, how that's coming to them, but still, that's a nice pad to have in order to get your phase 3 going. So
okay. Real good stuff there. Sniper, real quick. There is a retail price here, but if you're looking for Benzinga Pro at all, the first thing that you should do is talk to James from our team here. James is an expert at finding deals. I went ahead and threw his direct phone number and his direct email there in the chat. So before you do anything, there is a free trial that you can take, but before you do anything, make sure you talk to James so he can find you the cheapest possible price on Benzinga Pro. Sorry for the digression there, 13. Really good stuff. Next one here. We have Rani. That Rani is in ticker RANI. And I'll be honest, this was not on my list here this morning when I was covering stuff. So understand if we don't have any information about this. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see any fresh news on here. It looks like there was a summit. We had a PR about a summit Tuesday of last week. When is that summit? That summit is on Thursday, October 17th. It looks like, so that summit has not happened yet. Don't see any news here. Maybe this is just kind of a delayed bump. Based on that, it looks like it traded up here a little bit and then retrace some of that move. Float 16 million, does have a little bit of coverage. On average, the stock trades 60,000 shares. Boy, this thing is not liquid at all. Today, we've traded over 6.5 million, so that can explain the appreciation in price. 13, understand, do you have anything on this one, ticker RANI?
No, I was just trying to look and see if there's any relationship to Longboard Pharmaceuticals, since the one that was getting bought out, since that's getting mentioned on its news feed, but I don't see any connection. So not really sure what's going on with this one. I'd have to look in this some more. It does have some pretty significant short interest. It looks like only 4.89% of the float shorted, but the days of cover is 12.21. Float 16.19 million. I would have to look into some more of this to find out what's going on.
No problem. No problem. And the one thing we're going to have right here off the open is we're going to get a little trading in this name, so we should figure out how it trades. Real quick, Amanda, really appreciate this. One Anne-Marie Pro Trade will pay for that monthly bill if you decide to join us. This is something I generally try to stay away from this because I don't want to promise results. But this is a really good point that Amanda's bringing up. This Benzinga Pro is designed to give you information, but because Anne-Marie is actually a part of Benzinga Pro, I know we have Anne-Marie on Tuesdays and Fridays here where she gives out trades, but also please understand Anne-Marie has her own chat room where she's giving out trades all of the time. There's more than the trades that we discuss here. So if this is something that you're looking for, and you do kind of want like that hand holding and trade type thing, you still do get that here in Pro. So Amanda, I normally don't mention that. Appreciate you though. Okay, let's keep getting down to brass tacks here. Next one here is going to be Riley. This is of course B Riley. We've talked about this one a number of times on this show here. B Riley Financial shares are trading higher after the company had agreed to sell its appraisal and valuations unit, Great American, to Oak Tree Capital in a deal valued at approximately $386 million. So it does look like Riley's trying to spin off parts of his business here, probably to save the company. This looks like a spinoff here, 386 million. Riley did pop above 6. It's come back in a little bit, but it is holding higher. And frankly, the intraday chart formation here in the pre-market sure makes it look like this is going to go through that VWAP. Maybe we challenge one of this 560 area here, and then maybe above 6 on B Riley, ticker RILY. 13, we've talked a lot about this one. Do you have anything on RILY here?
Only that we kind of knew that they were looking to sell some of their business segments. Back on September 20th, we had news reports that, because it was moving then, it's looking to sell its wealth management unit to Stifel. Don't think that's what we ended up getting here. I think this is something completely different. But just with that news headline that they were looking to sell their assets, that should have been a flag for everybody that's looking to trade this. Now we have news saying yes, they are selling some of their assets. This one to Oak Tree Capital and raising money that way. So there's probably going to be some more of these coming. I don't think B Riley Financial is out of the woods yet with how bad their business is being operated. So there could be more of these to come.
Yeah, I'm with you. Purgatory Park saying, who the hell would buy anything from them? Really good question. I don't know the answer. Apparently the answer here is
everybody has a price.
Yeah, everybody has a price. We'll see how the stock trades after that, though. Okay, a couple more I know we're running out of time here real quick. VNDA, this is Vanda Pharmaceuticals. This also has a catalyst here. Actually looks like it took another leg up here in the pre-market. Vanda Pharmaceutical shares are trading higher after Cycle Pharmaceuticals reaffirmed its proposal to acquire the company for $8 per share in cash. Okay, interesting. So this is a potential M&A that is not 100% yet. We've got $3 here between the takeout price and the current price. I suspect we could see some action here today, ticker VNDA. That's what's going on, or that's what's going on with the catalyst here. Float 48 million, so it is a little bit higher than some of these low float explosions that we trade here. And average volume, kind of on the light side at 564,000, but today we're already about 1.4 million, so it should be good for day trades here today, assuming this holds into the open. 13, did you have anything on ticker VNDA?
Yeah, this is just one of those things where it's kind of like a lottery ticket. If you think they're getting taken over, you could start buying it now and just hope to hold that it gets to 8 once that becomes goes from a proposal to a definitive agreement. There's also potential for some movement here. It's got 7% of the float short of 5 days to cover. So there is a little bit of a squeeze element there. But I think this is more than anything, mostly a lottery ticket if you're going to play that offer, that proposal. There's just no guarantee that it goes through. So that's up to you if you want to take that gamble. But that's where the risk is in that gamble.
Yep. Bingo. Really good stuff there. Tom saying, I enjoyed Sandra on Friday. When is she usually on? Sandra is awesome. She is on with Zunaid on Fridays, following Anne-Marie normally. Now, we didn't have Anne-Marie this last Friday, so Sandra stepped up and stepped in right there at that 11 o'clock slot. But normally, her slot is Friday at 11:30 on a weekly basis. So you can check her out as well. Appreciate your support here, Tom. The other thing that's worth mentioning here, HIMS, this is actually up today. Did we have news? I know that there was, no. So over the weekend, FDA to review removal of Eli Lilly weight loss drug from the shortage list. That should help all of the GLP-1s. HIMS here gapping up a little bit on this. SoFi also gapping up here. We do have a catalyst. SoFi Technology shares trading higher after the company announced in a $2 billion loan platform business agreement for personal loans with funds managed by affiliates of Fortress Investment Group. SoFi here looks like this popped a good 60 cents, up 6% here in the pre-market.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to flip over. Yeah, I'm going to flip over to the main one. Go ahead, talk about whatever you need, and I'm going to quickly blow my nose. BRB.
Yep. So I'm just taking a look at Verb, XPON, and IVA. That's just the few I'm going to be having on my list for now. VNDA, maybe I'll look at that. I'm not sure about FBRX. Wasn't a whole lot of news, so not sure what we're going to get out of that. So if it starts moving, I'll put it back on my list. But for now, it's just those three I'll be looking at mostly: Verb, XPON, and IVA. As far as levels go, so here's where we can briefly talk about a level since we have a few seconds. For Verb. 1515 is the pre-market high, and we're trying to push up to that right now out of the open here, which we just did. So let's see if we get that price action, and if not, we're going to go back down to where VWAP is and I would be looking for some support there. So here we are with VERB. Are we going to push to 1515 or not? And if we aren't, then like I said, VWAP is going to be where I think it goes down to.
Okay. XPON right here at VWAP. Be interesting to see if this pushes away on XPON. Looks like it's coming in a little bit there.
Also looking at IVA, that's trying to get some support from the 65 EMA, and VWAP is at almost 315, just underneath that. So if we push up to there, that's where I think we could see some resistance briefly.
Okay, XPON starting to go here.
Yep, same thing with Verb. That's trying to push up.
I'll put Verb. Ooh. All right, Verb.
Yep. Is Rainy halted? I don't know. I'll take a look.
He said no, never mind. Good morning, Chris. Okay. Good to see you here this morning.
Hello, sir. All right, so there's that one. XPON is
XPON popped, but won't break back down through its VWAP, so that VWAP add still looks to be a pretty decent spot here. Verb pulling back will be interesting to see if it gets to VWAP. IVA looks like you had a head fake right there out of the gate. And Rani, as Chris was asking for here, nice little pop out of the gate and a pullback, but not halted at the moment. Shouldn't say unhalted.
So XPON. Yep, that one's trying to push up. Now there's some a couple of levels here that I'm looking at. So it looks like 435 could be one level, because it seems like throughout the pre-market, it's been trying to push up through that level. Got some pops above it, one of which was 460. And the earliest one when we opened, that was 473. So those are going to be two other levels that we'll be watching for. But let's see if we can even recapture that 430, 435 area.
Okay, this 424 looks to be the spot. I did see some stock there, but they took half of it. Looks like they put more in here at 422, and they were taking that. Okay, so the seller's not afraid here to show up on XPON right out of the gate here. I'll tell you what, here we go. We're right back on. If those sellers get taken off 13, I think you get your 430 test real quick here on XPON.
Look at that wall there at 430. So that's the big area that's got to get through. And then once we, make our way through that, we're looking at that 460 and that 473 level.
Okay, XPON looks like it's not ready to do that yet as this pulls back a little bit here. Really won't break down yet. I'd be curious to see if we break down from this area. Let's see, maybe 393. It's doing a decent job of holding 4. Maybe this does come into 380 on XPON. I'm just going to quickly flip through these, not in any of them. TVGN, this is a penny stock that's pulling back. Rani here, this is going. Lynn and Randy on Lynn and Rani. We have a new nickname. Lynn and Rani here as we're trading up 271. Let's see if we take the pre-market highs out here on Rani. I've got that at 292. See if it's strong enough to get up there.
Verb's getting some decent price action here, trying to push up to that 515. It's not too far away. It's definitely trying to make its way there. It's got to get through this. What is this? 1470. There's a bit of a wall at 1470. It's got to work through, and then it may end up getting that 1515.
SoFi, a little dip to 940 and a rip there. That would have been the one of the pre-market reversal spots there.
There it is. Verb took
There's
out that
Verb right up to 50. There it goes. Great call. Boom. Hey, nice job early. Not on Verb myself, but really good stuff there from the group.
So there's number one. Now we might get a little bit of movement up above that 1515, which we already have. It's at 1534. That's going to probably come back in a little bit, maybe over the next 10, 15 minutes. There's some pullback. If we don't, if it does, okay, well, it's ripping right now, but there's going to be some pullback in this. So just, think about how you're going to exit this or take profits on this way up.
Buru getting a mention here. Buru looks like that pushed up 10 cents out of the open here. Nvidia also getting mentioned. So you guys taking a look at some of the big caps here. We've talked about Nvidia. This sure does look like this is going to 140. Big rip right here out of the open on Nvidia.
Lots of these other names are just why there are so many things that are pulling right now. I'm just going down a list of some really old stuff.
Which is sorry, so really quickly, the SPY pushing to highs here. So it was kind of reversing that. What do you see pulling here, 13?
Well, aside from XPON, which we were looking for, so that's one. Also looking around at some of these names from last week. ZENA, the SQs, the SQQQ, of course. Yang pulled. Let's see what else. It was just it looks like a bunch of these smaller names were pulling. But it was interesting because I was just going down to my list and they were all looking the same. Verb is halted, by the way.
Verb halted in the 16 handle. Look at that. So this is nice little textbook curl move through the highs. Really good stuff there from the group here on Verb. So any of you taking early trades right out of the gate here, really good stuff. VERB.
Yeah, XPON, this one looks like it's going lower, probably down around 330. I would think that there's going to be some support if we don't get it. If we don't get it at 360.
Wow. Okay. So this is probably a no touch then, based on what we're looking for here. I was thinking support here in maybe this 370, 377 level. Looks like it's trying to bounce off this recent pull, but not really getting a whole lot here.
Yeah, if it can recapture the 65 EMA, which it's trading at right now, then that would be one thing. But it just looks like we're going to be weak out of the gate. It's going to sell off, probably in the good portion of the morning and then come back later. All right, that's what it seems like so far.
Here, I think I have that. Yeah, here we go. You said that 65 EMA. There we go. There we go. 13.
Yeah, so if it's looks like it's getting support, but let's see how this closes over the next 10 minutes. Oh, wow. Look at that pop right back up to VWAP. All right. So it's getting some buyers here, but it's got to close above VWAP.
I was going to say closing above VWAP would be important here. Also, what about those previous spots that we had? Was that, let's see, high was 424. I think we had some size above it at 430. So maybe there we go. Maybe we get a dip and rip here on Verb. Wow. There you go. Nice little start out of the open there on Verb or on XPON, excuse me. God, I'm getting all mixed up here.
No worries. Just be careful with this one. This is just all over the place.
Yeah, I'd be careful with this one too. Okay, you folks are looking at some more. Let me flip through. We spent enough time here. Nice little reversal. It did do a good job holding that, but as you can see, it's a tad wild here. Verb still halted. What was the other one that you folks were looking at? DJT. That was actually down here in the pre-market. Interesting. Another rip to the pre-market highs of Friday. Actually, this is right at the intraday high right now. See if this goes back towards 28 on DJT. I don't think there's any catalyst necessarily moving this around. Well,
for DJT,
yeah, I mean,
I think it's because there's been some news, and you can take this with a grain of salt, but there's been some news that he's now deadlocked with Camel in the race.
Yeah,
so I think maybe that might be it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that the polls really play in. I guess that's how I should have led with that. I'm not sure that the polls really. Maybe they do. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Anyway, DJT dip and rip here out of the open. We'll check back in on it. IVA. This has been unable to really return to its VWAP. It does look like it's kind of slowing down to the downside. TVGN. We didn't even look at this one here this morning. Was there any news on this one? No. TVGN. This was just momentum play. Maybe this is the penny stock. Here's Rani. That's right at those pre-market highs. Lynn and Rani getting it done. I love it.
It's three nice green candles out at the open there.
Yeah, this is a rip.
And then XPON. So that's just putting in some upper shadows after being unable so far this morning to get above VWAP. That to me means that this might be headed lower. So those levels I mentioned earlier likely going to be in play here in a bit.
Yeah. Also, I think what this action. 13. What this action is telling us is that you're probably better off adding this on weakness, but be careful. Maybe scale into that, because if this comes into a support level and loses it, you don't want to have, a big full position. By the way, I saw sound getting mentioned earlier. Looks like this popped and came back in.
It does do that a lot.
Jay, if you believe stocks lead, help me out with that one. A move in DJT and crypto tells you Trump is ahead. Yeah, I could see that too. Like I said, I have my own thoughts on that stuff by looking at the poll numbers. I try not to let that bleed into trading. This is hard enough. I don't need to make any more mistakes, frankly. DJT, by the way, finding some or slowing down its ascent there around 27. XPON still flirting with that 4 level here. WW from last week. This is Weight Watchers International. This up here, maybe with that GLP headline.
And yeah, is Rani still going? Okay, so
I can put it up here real quick. Rani,
next candle now. Yep. It's trying to push up. I think it's trying to get that 287 intraday high. We actually may have just touched it last candle. Yeah, we did. So I think that's where it's trying to go up there, or it's trying to go to the next one, which is 291. Let's see if we get that in Rainy. 291. Okay, so IVA is kind of just hanging out there. XPON. XPON, interestingly, managed to get above its VWAP, but it's not able to hold it, and I still don't like those wicks.
ASTS getting a mention here by Lauren. This one interesting. Nice little move up here, move back down to VWAP, and a push higher. So decent stuff here. ASTS, do you expect this to move north with the whole SpaceX thing that just took place? 13?
No. This
Okay.
is
no. You're an idiot.
This is going to move on other stuff. It's going to have its own set of news. I get that this is a competitor with Starlink. That's absolutely the case. So that's about where the relationship is, and also that they use SpaceX, space vehicles to launch ASTS's product. That's about where the relationship ends, as far as I understand.
Okay. Really quickly, Verb opened, plunged to 1424, and then halted to the downside here. So we talked about XPON being a little bit wild. Well, it sure looks like Verb is pretty wild too. And then we also have some people in the chat mentioning Palantir. Tom V, Palantir 44.30. Our price target on this was 45. We're not even close to December. So I am going to be looking to start selling off those butterflies here when I get an opportunity. My gosh, look at this daily chart on Palantir, and just
Crazy.
Every day, thank your lucky stars, we were not short from the 20s.
Yeah. Well, we were super bullish on this ever since it came down in 20. So also Shaka mentioning that there's a catalyst coming for ASTS this week, he believes. So something to watch for. They do have a catalyst coming, so just keep that in mind, as does Lunar. But to answer the SpaceX question, that where I said the relationship is about where it begins and ends. All right, looks like IVA is trying to make that run for VWAP again. Let's see if that gets that.
Seeing Meta calls come across the tape here. Meta trying to push higher here. Let's see if Meta can recapture 600. TWG, I did put that on here. TWG is moving up here. I think we're probably don't have, volume probably a little. No. Session volume 3.6 million. TWG moving here. Is this? Yeah, I guess it is down $1. Yeah, it is down still. This was a big move on Friday. We double topped here about 8.25, but bouncing here today.
Rob, don't beat yourself up, man. There's going to be plenty of other opportunities.
Yep.
Plenty of opportunities.
Agreed. And here's the other thing. Don't chase when you see that, because there's been so many times where I've seen a stock that I've been looking at, and then it goes and I'm like, oh, I'm going to chase this, and I get slapped. By the way, XPON, we talked about this one being a little bit wild. Here we are. Bang, right. Did we take those highs out? No, 424, still your intraday high here. Sure looked like we were about to trade above that.
It's got to get about 430, and there's still that wall there.
Yep. We have not set a new intraday high, and as 13 just mentioned, that wall is there at 430. Looks like there's some other offers in between 424 and 430, so that represents a resistance area. Backing off that spot, but I don't think this is done yet, XPON. Right back on.
Yeah.
Let's see if we take this off here.
Looking for some testing of that VWAP and IVA. Rainy pulling back, now trading slightly beneath its VWAP.
BA, you know what? We will check on Boeing here in a little bit, Jenks. We'll check on Boeing here. We should probably do that every day at this point. By the way, we did technically set a new high here on XPON at 425. So by 1 cent. Still haven't taken out that 430 wall that 13's eyeing.
Yeah. Big R there.
I'm going to run through some other here. Riley, this did curl back up towards the VWAP. Interesting. XPON, we're still waiting on that one. I'm actually thinking if XPON comes back in towards its VWAP here and doesn't really break down, volume looking pretty good. It's not really collapsing. This might be an opportunity to add some of this. Might even try adding a little here for this move. Let's see.
Well, that was interesting. We got to close above the VWAP on that candle, but let's see what happens next.
Yeah, let's see if it holds 4 here.
Yeah, Rainey's still trying to hold VWAP as well. Verb still halted. Ooh, not sure what's happening here with the Chinese market. I picked up some Yang on Friday just to play that the other side of the China stimulus isn't as robust. It looked good so far. It was looking good this morning, but then there was a huge knife for some reason. So maybe there must have been some news.
All right. This XPON sell-off, clearly my fault. I took a starter right there at VWAP, so I'm immediately down on it. That's par for the course. We'll stop out if it breaks 330 to the downside, but apologize for any of you that are trading this. Clearly, I screwed it up as I took a little piece. I might even, if this comes in here and kind of holds this area, we can actually kind of scale into this. And see if we get another move back up towards that VWAP. We'll see here on XPON. I'm in small, so even if it plunges, no big deal. Verb is open.
Yep, Verb is open. And Rainy is still trying to hold above VWAP, but it's starting to put in those wicks that we don't like to see. So there may be some downside here in Rainy coming up. XPON you were just talking about, not necessarily breaking down, but man, those wicks told you that we did not want to be in this quite yet. There might be an opportunity later, but I think it's still telling us we need to wait.
One of the things that I like about XP, I'll put it on screen here. One of the things that I like about this is that these wicks send the price back into like a consolidation area. They don't really send it lower, and the volume looks pretty good too. Like even in these last 3 candles here, pretty much exclusively selling volume, but we're holding in here right around 4. VWAP at 406 across there might send it. My average price on that scale, and by the way, is 406. So we're in that kind of small here.
Let's take a look at something real quick. All right. So SPY getting pretty close to that 583 handle.
SPY ripping still out of the gate. Let me put that on screen here. We haven't taken a look at SPY since the open here. SPY continuing to push higher here. Swing account doing dandy here today. Let's go. FMC getting a little bit of a bounce back.
Yep. That FMC lately, like pretty much all year, that's been kind of interesting because it will kind of go up to the $66 level, and then it'll come back in to about the 60 or maybe slightly underneath the $6 handle. And it just oscillates. It's been kind of oscillating mostly throughout the this year. Eventually, it's gonna. I think it's gonna get back up into the $100 level.
XPON coming back up for that test at 425. Okay. I'll say this here, XPON. I want to see that break. Given how back and forth this has been, if we get to that 430 test, I'll just book it. Get some green on the screen. And then now stop at break even, so impossible to take a loss.
Perfect. Siri is running on Buffett News, says C dot.
You call them C dot. I just call him C.
Oh, okay.
No, I like it. I like it. Whatever he prefers. She prefers.
Oh, wow. Good call on ASTS, folks. That thing is rocketing right now.
I see what you did there. Oh, yeah. What do we have another level here on AST? Yeah, we sure do. I was going to say, I feel like this is coming back up here. One we really want to take out here. Want to call this 26.5, I think.
Yeah, we have all kinds of levels we can we can look at here based on the what we're getting from the daily chart. Hot diggity dog. Look at all these levels.
XPON came right back into my thing and stopped me. Darn it. Okay, I'm gonna look. I don't think that's over yet. We're gonna watch it here, but that was kind of unfortunate. That's just trading action. Just a little bit unfortunate. Here's Verb. Keep rolling around here real quick. Here's Rani. This actually looks like this might be trying to go higher here.
Maybe it's holding VWAP, but those upper shadows would give me some caution.
Are you talking about XPON?
No, Rainy.
Oh, yeah. No, Rainy here. This just looks like this is kind of consolidating for another move towards the highs. I do have that day high there at 287, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think it would have to, push up through through 285.
Mara, you guys are sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you. Multiple people mentioning Mara here. What's Bitcoin doing? That is Bitcoin here, 65.5 on the futures. So that's taken another leg up this morning. It was higher this morning. Now it looks like it's taking another leg up. Mara following.
It may actually be trying to break some months-long consolidation.
Mara, huh?
No, Bitcoin.
Oh, Bitcoin. That would be. Oh man, I'll tell you what. You get a nice move up if it breaks that. BBAI, Big Bear AI. This is a former scanner here. Rainy, maybe towards the highs here again.
Yeah, it looks like 66,600 is the short-term top that we put in back on the 27th of September.
XPON looks like it's coming up to that. 425 is your day high. 430 is the 13 spot that we're still watching here on XPON. SPY vertical right now. Jason, I see you. I see you there. SPY is vertical.
Rainy, I think it's this candle that's going to either break out or break down. This current 5-minute candle. SPY, what did we get up to?
583.12.
There you go. So we hit it. Whatever happens the rest of the day, I don't care. That was the target. We got it.
Okay. Whatever happens the rest of the day, I don't care. You just love to hear that.
Well, because that's the only thing I could draw any conclusion on. I was pretty sure we were going to see 583 today based on a technical pattern here. But after that, I don't know if we're how much higher we're going to go. I don't have anything marked off or indicating to me how high we're going to go. Just have some downside levels is all.
Gotcha. XPON here. This is trying to go. Riley right back at its VWAP. Rainy still under 280 there. JSPR. This had data from one of its trials here. Wow, this was higher, dipped, and going right back towards those highs here on JSPR.
Yeah, that's probably going to hit 20.
Yep.
Verb getting support from VWAP at the moment. Not sure if it will hold. Did you want to take a look at Boeing?
Yeah, let's do that here. Let's do that here on Boeing. So we'll start with the intraday chart here. This actually went lower and lost its VWAP. Well, what was that?
Zim also having a good day too.
Okay. But here, you know what I'll do here for Boeing? Let me go to my bigger chart. We can actually look at the daily chart here. I've got some stuff here on Boeing as well.
Oh wow, Boeing. Okay, so 140. That's the next level that I got.
Yeah, that's going to be right in. Yeah, I completely agree with you, 13. This is going to be going back to 2022. Mm-hmm. We interacted with this multiple times in 2022. And then I also wouldn't be surprised. Oh, yeah, going all the way back to 2020, we interacted with this as well. I agree with you. 140 here looks to be the next spot here on Boeing. Now, so what did you say earlier about Boeing? Here, didn't I take a screenshot of that because I said I was going to forget it? Question: how does 13 calculate as? No, okay, that was something else that I took a screenshot of. But Boeing didn't we have going lower after company reported worse than expected preliminary revenue and a 10% reduction in its workforce? That should be good for it. Yeah, that was it. JP Morgan sticks to their buy rating.
Huge bid came in for XPON at 415, 414. So either this has to get taken out. I'm sorry, you're right.
Is it a sell? Yeah, it's a sell. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got shaken out of this, unfortunately. I got, let me see. I scalped this. Oh my God. I scalped this twice. I scalped this twice for less than $50. So I really have nothing to show for this other than slight green on the ledger.
IVA also looking like that's going lower. Looks
That's
like
terrible.
225 might be where it finds support later.
Tell you what, this thing has shown no strength since that initial pop here. Really, everything in the pre-market has been terrible on IVA. We've stayed under that VWAP. We haven't really even tested that VWAP since very early this morning. VNDA, this is another one that we had on a potential merger here. We're unable to get above the VWAP, but we have tested this in the regular session.
Yeah, C-Dot, you're right. I mean, Boeing is going down until there's something that's going to finally help turn it around. I don't know what that is at this point. There's just been no indication that they're going to get things right at the moment. Like I've been saying, the only reason this company even exists because of the defense angle. This is a money-losing machine.
But don't you think, given his point here, that there's really never any good news, that this, when we get bad news, if the stock doesn't really move down, it's kind of priced in a lot of that bad news? Would you take the other side of that potentially?
Well,
that maybe it's at a near-term bottom.
I would say not. Okay, because we don't know how long this strike's going to go on for.
That's true.
So I think until we get some clarity on that, this thing just has nowhere to go but down.
XPON might be coming back up to that 420.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not in this at the moment. I would not be shocked if this goes without me, since I've traded it twice and been unable to catch it for the break here. Wouldn't even be shocked.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, Boeing's going to be a screaming buy. Don't know when that's going to be. It's going to have to, show some turnaround. We do have a new CEO, so that they're probably going to need some time with that.
Yeah.
But until they get this labor problem sorted out, they don't have anybody making their products, so they have nothing to sell.
Yeah, Jay Rice, Jay Rice really just cutting to the chase here, frankly. Why would you tie up capital in it unless it's a short? And this is a really good, I don't have an answer for him. This is a really good point. You were just saying that it's going to be a screaming buy at some point, but that point is not today. And given Jay's point, I wouldn't want to tie up. That feels like dead capital.
Yeah. Oh, here goes Rani.
Smoke Tuna saying Boeing might be a screaming buy in 10 years.
Yeah.
Here is Rani. That did break out. Yes. Crow, love this. XPON 390. This is going to be the spot I'm going to try to get it at again, because I think one of the things with the tight stop and all that, I've been buying it a little bit higher than this 390 spot. This really good entry here on that, Crow.
We just really need to see it not continue with these upper shadows. This thing looks like a birthday cake at this point, dude.
It does. And Tuna earlier, to his credit, he said it wants to dip. And given the shadows that we're seeing on this, I'm with you. And I'm not even like pissed that I'm not in this right now. Like, technically, I don't have a loss booked. I've got a little bit of green on the screen, but it's really nothing that's going to get me anything more than like lunch. But
here we go.
But let's see. Do we create another birthday candle wick? Is the question.
Yeah, we'll see if we get that or not. And then to wrap up Boeing, if you have any desire to have exposure to this, my only thought would be, don't do it with the direct asset. Do it with an ETF, something else that's going to be managed for you, so you don't have to like get your entire account killed by not managing Boeing very well. It's just not a touch for me at this point.
Yeah, and you know what? That you're bringing up another really good point there, 13. Don't let Boeing. Jay Rice telling you that this might be a dead trade. Maybe you're better off putting capital somewhere else, which I agree with. Don't let it be a port killer. That would be even worse, right? Do not let it kill your portfolio. By the way, look at that. XPON created another birthday candle as we trade back down here to VWAP.
And Rainey's
Boeing
still
is a no touch for me. I see you guys are all in this. You guys are all, I love it. You guys are all over this.
Rainey trying to take out 287. That's the target it's trying to move past.
I literally typed rain instead of Rani. There we go. MNDR might be one to watch. That's a penny stock. Tom from across the pond. Tom, I got to say, your entire country was just excellent host to my Bears team, who went in there, punched the fraud prince in the face, and took back the W. So really appreciate your hospitality.
Folks, if you were trading ASTS, I hope you, and just trading it. I know some of you were holding it for a longer period of time, but hopefully you got out before these couple of knives. It's back down to where the supply level is in the pre-market. So let's see if we get some support right about here.
What a complete round trip here. This is the rocket going up, reaching its maximum altitude, and then coming back in.
Yeah, and now the tower is going to catch it with its chopsticks.
Take that. How is Tesla doing, by the way? Since we just kind of joked about that, how's Tesla doing? So this also round trip too, interestingly enough. This was that it was up here in the pre-market. We've kind of come back in though.
Sydney Osborne asking about the NVIDIA ETF and the
that's going to be one of the levered NVIDIA ETFs.
Looks like Xpon's trying to make another birthday candle. How old is this birthday cake going to represent? Let's see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Happy sixth birthday there, Xpon. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, we'll see what Xpon does here. I'll be honest. At this point now, some of that volume has really kind of changed to selling volume. We talked a lot about the wicks. This really hasn't shown the impetus to go. Keep it on your watch list in case it moves a little bit later. I'm out of this right now. So we'll see. We'll see if we get a better setup here. It is holding 4 here, but it is 10 o'clock on a Monday, and you folks know what that means. It is time for the one and only Matt Maley. Let's go ahead and bring him on. All right, Matt. Hello and happy Monday, a victory Monday once again. It is great to have you back here. How was your weekend?
Well, it's good. I mean, it looks like the old coach of the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick, may be getting closer to becoming the next year's coach of the Dallas Cowboys very quickly, the way things are going down in Dallas. So it's nice to see the Bears keep winning, and Patriots not doing so good. But I'll tell you, this kid out of North Carolina, May, he can throw the ball downfield. So it was actually kind of encouraging to see how well he played.
I'll tell you what, I did watch some of that game. That kid's got an arm. They've got no weapons at all, and he's still out there putting the ball all over the yard. I think you got one. I think unlike the last time the Bears drafted a UNC quarterback that wears 10, I think you guys got the winner here, Matt. So really, really good stuff. Great to hear about your weekend here, Matt. We're looking at the market here today. New, fresh, all-time highs here for the SPY. So we did set some late last week. We opened up here at a new all-time high. SPY pushing up here, 583.5. What do you think's going on here with the market? How much more room do you think there is to the upside, or are you really kind of starting to expect a pullback at any time soon?
Well, there's two ways to look at it. I mean, number one, we have on the positive side, I mean, let's face it, the market's making new highs. There's a lot of cash in money market accounts. And so that money moves in as the market, continues to make new highs. And what do those professional money managers do, whether it be mutual fund guys or RIAs, investment advisors? They they pull that money in, and the market's pushing the new all-time highs. They don't sit on it; they put it right to work. And so this thing can feed on itself. We're in an election year. And it was no surprise that the data is getting better because it's election year. So there are certainly reasons to think that this thing could move higher. The thing that really stands out to me, well, there's two things. Number one, we have to be concerned about what's going on in the Middle East. I mean, the complacency surrounding that issue is remarkable. It reminds me very much of what we saw in early 2020 when everybody said, don't worry about the pandemic. And then when it finally kicked them in the teeth, it kicked hard. The other thing that stands out to me is what's going on with the VIX. I mean, we have the S&P is up over 1%, and the VIX is basically unchanged. I mean, the last I saw it was down 0.02 or something, and it's still above 20. I mean, the last couple of times the VIX, we saw, of course, what happened in the VIX in early August. It spiked up above 60. That was kind of an outlier because there was the unwinding of the carry trade, some forced selling going on. But you look at the other three times, then it pushes up above that 2022 range. That's when the market's been going down. I mean, it went down 10% last October or last fall. It pushed above 20 in both the in April of this year, and then again in September of this year. And both those times the market was going down. Now the market's going up, and yet the VIX has moved up into that higher range and stayed there. Now, what does this mean? Well, something's wrong. I mean, in other words, the VIX, the people buying, again, remember what the VIX does. It doesn't measure puts versus calls in the entire market. It measures puts, what people are willing to pay versus puts on puts versus calls in the S&P 500. So people are buying protection, even though this market is moving up. Now that tends to be the smart money and tends to be a good indicator. I know the put call ratio is not as it tends to be a contrarian indicator, but the VIX when it's moving up, so we have to be careful. I guess my point is, if the VIX pulls down and drops back down like it usually does after it moves above 20, stays there for a week or so, and then drops. But if it doesn't, it starts to continue to move higher. That'll tell me that some people out there know something the rest of us don't know, and we need to be careful. This is right now the VIX is definitely a warning flag for the bulls.
Yeah, you know what? That's interesting. You are absolutely reading my mind right now, because that was my next question here that I was going to ask you about. To your point, VIX down 6 cents here today. So SPY pushing new all-time highs, raging out of the gate here. VIX is down, what, 1/4%, just barely? And so also, to your point, we're still holding that 20 area. So although it's come in a little bit, it's really not breaking down. It is staying elevated there above 20. And you're right about the market, too. It really seems to not even care about this conflict in the Middle East, seems to just be shaking it off. Without getting political, do you think that there, any type of, I hesitate to use this word because I don't want to send the wrong impression, but do you kind of feel like there's any type of market manipulation or kind of propping it up just to get this binary event of the election out of the way before maybe they let it go?
Well, I mean, yeah, you always worry about when you start to use, manipulation. People get conspiracy theories and all this stuff.
And that's not where I'm trying to go. I
know that exactly. That's not. But we also have to know that manipulation does take place. It's just not maybe to the degree that some of the some people think it does. I mean, let's face it. Quantitative easing is a form of manipulation. I mean, so the manipulation does take place. We all understand that. I mean, during QE, every month they come in once or twice a month and buy treasuries, no matter, with no regard to supply, demand, no regard to the fundamentals. It's like, we're going to boom, 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 we're going to buy them. So that is a form of market manipulation. So it does exist. Now, whether it really exists to another degree, it doesn't matter here. What we do have, though, is a decent amount of liquidity still sloshing around the system, as we can see with the way that the Bitcoin, which is a very liquidity-driven asset, it's holding up quite nicely. And then you see the dollar yen. I mean, the yen is weaker again. That means that people are starting to go back into the carry trade, and the yen carry trade that provides some liquidity to the system too. So, I mean, it's. You see, manipulation, as much as it's artificially being held up, it may not necessarily be people moving in saying, let's keep the market up so we can get past the election, as much as it may be just artificial things like these liquidity inflows that are holding up the market as well. I guess my point is, though, is that there's some people who are buying S&P puts, and that's why the VIX is holding up. Why would they keep doing that if the market is the outlook is as good as the market is trying to tell us right now?
It seems like you're trying to read between the lines there, which is really smart. 13, did you have anything for Mr. Maley?
Well, I've been curious about this China stimulus money for some time, and how we saw the Chinese markets interaction with it. Had some good days, and then all those gains that they had from that one day, they were gone. And it kind of makes you wonder, well, where did that money go? And seeing as how our market is now hitting new all-time highs, kind of wondering how much of that stimulus money is making it from China over here, and what and is that going to continue?
Well, and then the thing is, how long does it continue? And again, I don't want to. This could take time to unfold. But remember what happened back in 2011, or in the years immediately following the Great Financial Crisis. A lot of liquidity came into the marketplace. I mean, from all over the world, not just the U.S. Fed, to get us out of of that debacle that took place in 2007 to 2009. Okay, so and the Fed came out. Bernanke came right out and said, "Hey, we're trying to push up risk assets. This is part of what we're doing here with these QE programs." The problem was, as we moved into 2011, as whenever you get excess liquidity, it tends to flow into whatever the hottest group of is at the time. And back then, the asset class that was the hottest in 2011 was were the commodities. They exploded to the upside. And everybody was saying, well, that's because China was growing like a weed, of course. And that was true. But the Fed came out and said, listen, we have a problem here. we don't, if commodity prices keep going up, especially food prices, this is going to create problems for our recovery. We want the liquidity to go into good assets, good risk assets, not into commodities. So what happened? Well, they didn't do something, but something was done in May and June of 2011 that year. They came in and raised the margin requirements on a whole slew of commodities, and suddenly that rally rolled back over, and so all that excess liquidity, I mean, some was going into the stock market, and a lot was going into the commodity market. It moved back to the stock market, and the stock market kept moving higher. What is China going to do here if they see their liquidity going into the U.S. market? They're going to do something to make sure it goes into their market. I guess my point is, does that happen tomorrow? Does it happen a month from now? Does it happen next year? I don't know. But they don't want this, just like the U.S. Fed didn't want in 2011. They didn't want that excess liquidity to go into commodities. China doesn't want their excess liquidity to go into U.S. stock markets or other stock markets around the world. They want it to go into where, things that will help them. So the question is, how much longer can this last? I don't know, but the answer, I think, is that they will do something just like the U.S. did back in 2011.
That's great information. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, that is awesome. Okay, folks, if you want to trade along with Matt, check out all of his calls. Matt is absolutely on fire. Sorry, Matt, have to plug you here. I did go ahead and throw a link to a webinar sign up in there. Talk to Rodrigo. He'll get you set up with whatever you need. Matt, really, really good stuff. Again, thanks for your time here on Monday. Have a great rest of your week. We'll check in with you next week. All right.
Sounds good. Have a great one, guys.
Take care. That is Matt Maley. And again, folks, if you want to follow along with all of his trading and all of his calls, please check out the webinar in there. He does really, really great stuff, and he's on top of everything. So, okay, really good discussion there. Let's go ahead and get back to some of the active names that are moving around here. Look at that, XPON breaking down. All of that talk about the birthday candles, and someone blew them out. Man, oh man.
That was the gambit. So RCAT, getting mentioned here by thinking about it. That had a pop. It had a good move today, up to 379. This thing, every time he mentions it, it's having a good day. This thing is, you can look to the left and you can see that this thing will run for a number of days, go sideways or come back in, and then it'll start its run right over. So RCAT, nothing but higher every week, it seems. Nvidia at highs of the day so far. TVGM halted up.
Sorry about that. I had an alarm going off in the other room. Bird is like, what the hell is this? So I had to go fix that there. Okay. RCAT is up 9.17%. Yes, Sydney. Looking good here today.
So yeah, you were mentioning XPON. That looks like it is going to go down to its first stop at 360.
It looks like Rani made a intraday double top, and then completely rolled over. Nasty action here on Rani.
That's great. That's a great pickup on the chart.
250 here might be a spot where this bounce. It looks like it's trying to kind of put in a bottom here. Be careful with this one. AEHR, saw a number of people talking about this one earlier. We talked about this last week because this company had earnings. Interesting action here, right? We popped on the earnings. We actually dipped and almost gave everything back the following morning before resolving higher. And today it actually looked like it tried to again take out Friday's intraday highs. I still think that you have a tradable level here. Let's call it 1665. AEHR, if this can break this and go higher here, I think we do test 20. Robert, it looked like you stayed in that there, AEHR, if I'm recalling correctly here. But this one actually doesn't look terrible.
Also getting asked about CAPR, CAPR.
That was another one from last week, 13.
This one actually, this one has been a ripper since late September. Now, if I look at the daily chart here, it looks like we are coming off of being very, very extended. The RSI was well over 80. So it is coming. It had come back in. Looks like it found support around the 16 handle, and it's trying to push back up. But when I look at the RSI and I look at the MACD, it still seems like this might end up going lower first before it goes higher. If we get that cross in the MACD, then that's going to be your signal that this is likely going to lose 16 and go lower. But For now, I would say maybe wait and see what happens, because I think this looks weak. But once we get a little bit more breakdown, we get the RSI cools off some more, maybe the MACD crosses and turns the histogram red for a little bit, then that would be a better time to start thinking about going long again. But for me, CAPR is looking like it's going to go down.
Let me ask you, if we kind of just flag around, or if we trade around here and this creates what kind of looks like a bull flag, maybe that'll change things. I feel like we need some more time for that, though.
If it consolidates some more, then
yeah,
yes,
right here, without breaking down, really, maybe even without breaking down to 16. Like, really, if this can kind of hold, let's call it 1675 to where it's at now, and just kind of trade sideways, I think it could make the case for some more bullishness here.
Sure, maybe it does. My whole thing right now is that based on what the technicals are telling me, this looks like it may end up going lower.
Sure.
So,
and we should also point out that technical trading has really ruled the day recently. We've even had fundamental guys saying, hey, look, I've just been following the technicals because that's what's worked. So to your point, we should at least take a look at that first. By the way, Verb getting called here by Smoke Tuna, as we did take out the VWAP there. I do like to see that we did it on slightly higher volume here. Not really a volume pop, but maybe Verb can go higher from where we're at right now. Here we go.
an XPON with that breakdown lost 360. Next stop would be 335 would be the next area I think we would get support.
Just really good stuff on this one. Smoke Tuna, I think very early on, you were shelling out some warnings here that XPON might dip. Pretty sure. Looks like it took a while to get it, but here we are getting that. We'll see if we can hold this area here. Maybe call it the 350 area. Maybe it bounces from here. No position in this one. We'll take a look. Lynn and Randy, excuse me, took the short Tesla for $3. All right. So again, I had said this earlier, Lynn and Randy. I'm not sure if you were here for this. When we first started talking about Tesla, I had said that, I can't short Tesla for an extended period of time, but obviously the day-to-day stuff, totally different. Looks like you had a really good kind of resistance right here at the VWAP and just a big plunge away from that. 6 points here. Looks like you grabbed 3 of that. Well done, Lynn and Randy. Well done here on a Victory Monday.
Rainy, we did say that there was a double top. This looks like it's going to break down some more. And if it does, I think that we might see some support around somewhere between 240 and 245. And then if that doesn't hold, then
look at that. Yeah.
So this looks like it's going to go down some. Oh, well, it's starting to break down now.
It sure is.
There we go.
ASML, Robert, I know that is your biggest position here. ASML.
It's a smart position too. He's playing like the manufacturer of the manufacturer that makes the stuff for the manufacturer of chips. I think I used manufacturer too many times, but you get the point.
I think it was perfect. I think maybe throw it in there one more time for good measure.
They're the thing behind the thing behind the thing. Look at Verb now. This one's broke above VWAP and is moving.
Actually, Robert, pretty decent spot there on the pullback. So for a swing there, I hope that one works out for you. Here is Verb. So I'm obviously a little late to this. No position for me here on Verb. I'll see if we get something here.
Yeah, intraday high is 1613. We already talked about how it broke the pre-market high that was earlier, 1515. So it's got to get through that consolidation that we had while it was halted. That kind of up in the 15, let's call it the 1530 to 1550 area. We break through that, we can test the 1613 intraday high and move higher. But for the time being, it doesn't look like it's ready to do that.
Looks like there is no try, is just extracting money from some of these stocks and then citing Smoke Tuna. Way to go, Smoke Tuna. Amanda, you know that a message like this is going to get read here. My fingers hurt from closing all of my winning positions today. Amanda, we call that first world problems. That's literally the definition. Love this SPY up, VIX down situation. Today is a good day to sell premium. I've got vibes there that from that Geico commercial where the dude strains his finger and then the little gecko comes in and like chops it like it's massaging its back. Those are the vibes I just got from your comment. Let me know if you have a little reptile working out your finger there from all of the wins. All of the big dubs being held over there by Amanda. Let's go.
Big dubs. The Verb is pump. Is it becoming the action that it's meant to be?
I'm with Jay, though. I also prefer nouns to verbs. I don't know what that says about me, but I mean, maybe that's why I missed the trade.
I like adjectives. They're so descriptive.
Oh, that's
Anyway.
Okay. See, the dad jokes are they just roll off the tongue. It's just
I don't know if that
so
was a
easy
dad
for
joke.
you.
That
I
was an
mean,
English teacher joke.
well, dads can be English teachers too. So
I guess that's true.
Riley here, by the way, this did pull back to the VWAP and held it, so it didn't break down. Verb actually flagging up here. We'll see if this goes higher. The penny stock TVGN, this rocketed off its VWAP. No longer a penny stock. We'll see what this has in store for it here. Reddit is above 70. Wow, I was wrong on Reddit, guys. I said this was going back to the teens. Here we are printing 70s. This is months later. BYRN getting mentioned by Shaka. Shaka, if I switch to this and it is not doing anything, okay, this is up. This is up. But I'm just saying, because like sometimes the hyperbole, just making sure.
Brian doesn't like those Shaka goose chases.
No, I love Shaka's awesome. Like, come on, we have a little bit of a back and forth here. IVA, what a disappointment. This thing has been nothing but weak since the open here.
Yeah, I don't know about weak. I mean, yes, it's going down. I'd say it's boring. The move was in yesterday. Friday. This is the relative volume one. This will probably end up being one of those that just comes back later and then tests that Friday after hours high. But
If
for
we
now,
end up getting that.
yeah, for now it's just not something to keep on your screen.
Palantir looks like it double topped out of the open, double topped to where it was on Friday, pulled back to where we kind of opened here today. I'll be honest with you. I'm totally fine with this action. Stocks really shouldn't go straight up or straight down. And we've talked about this quite a bit. If this thing can trade sideways here, first of all, on the daily chart, does look like maybe some of this up move is being exhausted. But if this can trade up here sideways, let's call it a week, maybe 2 weeks, we're going to get that RSI to come back in and we're going to set up for another up move here. So I actually like what I'm seeing here on Palantir so far as where it's at. We'll check in on that daily. I'm sure about it. XPON looking for a support level. I'll bring that up here and then we'll read whatever 13 is laughing hysterically at.
I'm laughing at there is no try. He's absolutely killing it.
It feels so gangsta to make 2 weeks pay in 1 hour. Shitting smirk on my face all day. So this is a couple of things here about this comment. This is why a lot of people get involved in this business here. And this is why the first rule that we always talk about preserving your capital is so important, because if you have capital to play, you can have days just like there is no try is having, and that can really, really help you. Big Bees, looks like you're loaded up on some more Palantir calls. You just love to see it. You guys are all over stuff here today. There's a lot
of volatility today. It's been kind of nice.
Rani, right back to its VWAP.
Yeah, and as far as that mention on XPON, this is close to that area I was looking for to turn around. And I agree completely with what Smoke Tuna was saying. So we may see it turn around here.
And I really appreciate this too. There is no try. Full disclosure, I'm down big is what that means to say on long-term Tesla. So I kind of mentioned this last week when I filled in for Aaron on pre-market prep. When it comes to some of your core positions, like different time horizons on different trades, this is extremely important. And if you have a long-term position that's based on fundamentals or some type of thesis, there could be some days in between there that don't look all that great. Dennis, one of the things that happened to him is after that Tesla event, we had a whole bunch of people asking, Dennis, did you sell your position? The stock's getting hit. And Dennis is like, no, I shorted the way down there. He basically traded around his core. And I think that this is extremely smart. There is no try. It sounds to me like what you're doing is you're kind of trading around some of these core positions here. So while there might be sunshine and rainbows on one trade, it might be a little bit of doom and gloom on the other. But that's okay, because there are multiple ways to win at this. And this is a really good job kind of separating some of your trading to keep yourself afloat. I think more people should do that. By the way, for those of you that missed that pre-market prep, Dennis was taken along on ELF said that it looked to be a little bit oversold. I actually took the other position here, said I think that this probably trades back down and tests that 100 and maybe even into that 90 area. I said if it closes above 110, that stop would probably be thrown out here. So we'll see where ELF closes here today. Currently at 111.50, that might have been a stop. We might have to wave the white flag and tell Dennis he was right. Tomorrow's pre-market prep. We'll see where this finishes here today.
Elon taking the contrarian position on Boeing, which, hey, go for it. I think that I think you're going to be right at some point that it will bounce back strongly. Personally, I just don't know when that's going to be. And you could start to load up down here, but I personally think that we might continue to see some more downside in Boeing. So not really looking to go long here yet on Boeing if I do go long at all. But I agree with you. It just at some point it will turn around. It will come back strong. We just can't say when that's going to happen.
Awesome. And that also, we just finished talking about time horizons. Time horizons coming into play pretty big in that trade there. Elon, if you think, that bad news is priced in, maybe I'll hold your nose and buy and wake me up in 10 years type thing. Right. See what else we got going on here. TVGN, that is still popping here. Riley looks like it. That's RILY. Beg your pardon. Looks like we just lost VWAP there to the downside. Mara still at highs. So for those of you trading Bitcoin here today, Mara really good move. Bitcoin also at the high, 66,100 plus on the futures.
Here's a great question, Anna Barin. This is a good one because we talked about TD Ameritrade or the Toronto Dominion Bank, and this has been getting hammered over the.
What's the ticker here? TD.
TD, yeah. Remember the news this one had? This I think it was a fraud investigation. Yes, securities fraud, money laundering violations.
Whew,
so
that's no good.
Yeah. So to answer the question about how far this could go, I mean, depending on how severe that allegation is and how true it is, it could go to zero. But if let's say that that's not going to happen, let's just look and see if we can get a trade out of this. It would seem to me like it's going to have to start, stop moving down at some point. We're already very oversold. It's at 24-hour SI. I'd imagine that there would be some dip buyers coming in at some point to try to get, take advantage of a bounce. But if this downside does not continue, then from here, if the downside continues from here, I would think that there might be a better chance for a bottom closer to $54.
And to 13's point here, looks like who got this? AC2000 looks like they already agreed to pay $3.09 billion in fines to U.S. authorities after pleading guilty to money laundering related charges in an ongoing case. So to me, 13, that wonders, is there another shoe to drop? How much more bad news is coming out here for TD? I don't know the answer to that. That's what I'd be worried about here.
Yeah, so I'm not really looking to jump into this quite yet. Maybe I'll take another look at it once it gets down to 54. But even then, I don't think I'd feel great about it. It could go down even further than that.
All right, let me get a long-term chart up here and see if we can come up with any types of levels. And wow, yeah, I'll tell you what. Look at this. So the move down here, just no support at the 200-day. You could say maybe that first day when it touched it, it got bought back up. But the very next day, we pushed away from that and we waved goodbye to the moving average beneath it. Looking at the chart here, just kind of eyeballing this right off the top here, 54. Is that what you said, 13? Did you say 50? I think 54, you did. Yeah. To me, I would completely agree with that. That certainly looks to be the next price in here. I think beneath that, you could be in real big trouble. Maybe even a 50 handle, maybe even 43.
And I think I remember seeing something about this potentially stifling growth for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah.
Yes, AC 2000. That's right. They were fined $3 billion. Also, saw something that was interesting here from Big Abiz. Looking at PEP, I think it's undervalued. Let me tell you something, dude. I sold all my Coke on Friday, and I picked up PEP. So I agree with you. I think it's undervalued. I think there's a lot of upside left, and I did pretty well with the Coke, so I cut that. I thought that there was not a whole lot left on the bone there, but but I think Pepsi is going to has a lot left to move up to. It could even get up to 200 or higher. So I think, yes, Pepsi is going to be interesting for me. I already started a position on Friday. I will add to that if it goes lower.
And interestingly enough here, ever since we reclaimed this 200, boy, we did that with some strength. This thing just right to the 50. We took that out right to the 500 here, which is at 175.10. To me, it sure looks like next spot here, next test is going to be 180. And to your point about, 200, that would be new all-time highs, if I'm not mistaken. It would. And that would actually make a pretty decent cup curl formation here on the weekly chart if we end up getting that. So, okay, good stuff. Neville saying I buy Coke every Friday. I think there's a joke in there, but I can't quite place it. I'm just going to move away from it. LOL.
Back away slowly.
Yeah, like a Homer Simpson retreating into the bush.
Yeah. Spoke into mentioning EPO or EPOW.
Yeah, I think I saw a number of you folks mentioning that earlier when I was talking to Matt here. This is Sunrise New Energy. This is kind of a thinner name, isn't it? About 17 million in the float on average. Okay, so on average, stock trades 83,000 shares today. It's traded 220,000, so definitely more thinly traded than some of those other ones here. But nice little formation here, EPOW, EPOW.
Carmen, that's interesting. I didn't know that about you, but the whole thing with me and Coke is that on last October, 2023, that's when a whole bunch of stocks were down, and I went shopping back in October last year. And Coke is one of the ones that I loaded up on. So that was a 1-year trade for me. That did really, really well. I'm done with that one. I don't think there's a whole lot left on the bone at this point. It might go a little bit higher, but I don't think it's going to really, I don't see it getting into the 80s at all. I think Pepsi is going to be the better move here, but that's interesting. I didn't know that about you. So it'd be interesting to learn more about your time there in the legal department.
Also, you folks, I appreciate that story 13 because you folks have not experienced how great it is when we have this really crazy sell-off that's just scaring the hell out of everybody, and 13 just kicks in the proverbial door and walks in like Vince McMahon just because he's getting ready to buy. He knows exactly what's going on there. So I can't wait till we get that day again, 13. Because that is just you go extreme boss mode on those days, and it's days where everyone else is a little bit worried.
Yeah, those wealth creation events are really, really good. I mean, the first one that I really took huge advantage on was when the pandemic started to really hit stocks. I was buying all kinds of stuff in February, March, and April that year. Bought a whole bunch of stuff that did really well.
Yeah,
we'll still have some of it too.
Oh, and so we kind of talked a little bit about that with Matt earlier. I want to point something out, and I've said this to everybody. I've had people say this to me. People that are more experienced say this to me when talking about the market. The market figures things out. The market is forward-looking. Don't fight the trend. All of those things. When people talk about, COVID being a really terrible thing for the market, literally all you need to do is come in here and look at this daily chart, and you can realize that is absolutely false. There was a small period of time where COVID was scaring the market, but if you see what this bounce did from those COVID lows, the market had this figured out arguably before anyone else had this figured out. Now, if you want to make the argument that maybe we're still too high priced and valuations are out of sync and all of this and the market needs to come in, okay, but I'm receptive to that. But when it comes to the trading action and what the market is telling you about macro events, I'm sorry. You look at this, market told you here very, very early on that a lot of this was going to be hyperbole here. I understand the market is different than the economy and different than people. I totally get it. I'm just saying there are things that you can take from the market if you're paying attention. It will have some of those hints out there. All right. Well, I really had to scroll. We are much higher. We are much higher than we were at that COVID low. Holy cow. And we'll see. We'll see if we end up pulling in here. IVA doing nothing still. Riley holding right at VWAP, but not doing much. Verb gave back that recent move and then held here at VWAP. Lowe's is getting mentioned here. That was one of our hurricane trades, folks. Lowe's is higher still. So we look at this. So we made a high here, came back in, broke that high, came back in, broke it again. Where does it end here on Lowe's? I would imagine Home Depot has a very similar looking chart. Okay, we didn't quite take out those highs there at 420, but Home Depot holding up here.
Yeah, Home Depot's got a little bit of a valuation problem. They're very extended. I think it's going to have to come in a bit.
Okay.
So that's the only thing I have. I don't know. I haven't looked at the lows and the valuations and everything like that, but Home Depot is very extended in terms of their valuation, and they're very extended in terms of their price action as well. Look at the RSI over 70. This is going to have to come in.
Generac tried to come in a little bit. Looks like it moved down 4 points out of the open here, but getting right back up to highs. Interesting thing here on Generac Friday, we actually had news that did pop the stock here. Trump posted on Truth Social, I'm still not used to saying that, quote, "We are going to allow you retroactively to September 1st to purchase a generator for your home, which will, in doing so, entitle you to fully deduct the total cost of said generator for income tax purposes." This should be pretty good to allow people to actually get generators. This is a little bit of a help here. I don't know how long that's going to last for this particular trade. I know we're talked a little bit about Generac being one of the hurricane trades. It is up here near highs, hasn't taken out those highs, but that's some of the recent news that we got here. Ticker GNRC. That was from Friday.
Yeah, so you're probably not going to get movement off of that headline until maybe after the election. If he ends up winning the election, then that's one stock that'll probably end up doing very, very well based on what he's that news that he was saying.
And then if people take advantage of that, right, we should be able to get some type of note or channel checks or whatever when they release earnings saying, yeah, this is kind of moving the needle here. So you're right. There's some future things to watch for. And it's okay. Look, Dennis is an excellent trader. I got no problem. I wanted to take the other side of a trade for a long time. And I'm not going to do it on Tesla. It's the one trade I'm not just going to do it. Chart said that this still has another $100 test. Look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We'll give Dennis his flowers. You can be wrong. You just don't stay wrong. Remember, folks?
All those beauty product companies, they all look the same, and they're all likely going to end up turning around. Ulta Beauty, the one that Buffett recently got into, that also double topped. That also has been not doing well even after he bought it. It moved up and then it came right back in. So at some point these all end up being doing much better. Just let these technical patterns resolve. Let the price come in, and it'll be a really good buy. Probably still have more opportunities left in some of these.
Look at Rainey here, Lynn and Rainey. They're doing it. This actually a dip beneath the VWAP. Nice little recapture there on the second attempt. And now some new intraday highs here as we made a triple top there, punched above it. We are at the pre-market high. So we'll see if 292 falls.
Yeah, that one didn't break down. So yes, pre-market high, 291, like you said. So
251 your intraday low.
Yeah, I think you have to get past 3, or it's going to come right back in. If this thing pops to 3 and doesn't hold, it's going to come right back in. It looks like it's going to try for 3 though. It hit 291 exactly. That was a great mention.
Looks like tech and Bitcoin leading the way up today. Dow and small caps look to be the everything's green, but Dow and small caps seem to be the laggard. VIX is red. And this is interesting. When we were talking with Matt Maley earlier, VIX was barely down. In fact, VIX was down, I think, just over 0.25%, 0.3%, 0.3. Now VIX down almost 2% here. So it looks like it is holding on to that 20 level, but it is starting to sell off a little bit more precipitously than it was earlier this morning.
What are you thinking, Anthony? I think we got to test the VWAP one more time before it does its run. And we did get up to the 291 level. That was a great mention. That's the level it's got to break through, and it looks like it's got to face the $3 handle. There's a wall there that it's got to take out as well. But once it does, don't know how high it's going to go. All right, so what's going on with some of these other ones? Looks like IVA may have, well, I don't want to say they did, but it looks like they have tried to find a bottom. That 200 EMA right there down at the 230, 225 area, providing some support. Got to make its way back up through the 65 EMA, which I have at 260. We get above 260, we could probably talk about test of VWAP coming up after that.
XPON so far has held that 350 here. I don't feel good about this for a trade. TVGN has not given back its $1 status since getting it here today. That's good. MNDR, I think this got mentioned by Tom earlier, our friend from across the pond, Tom. Mobile Health Network. This at the highs, this right at those pre-market highs. Some decent volume pops in here. I stayed away from this one, but this one pretty good. And then NVIDIA. You guys were mentioning tech early on here. NVIDIA, right up. We didn't quite get that 140, but we are holding up here. If we take a look at the daily chart here on NVIDIA, look at this double top that we have forming. Anyone thinking NVIDIA breaks down, or is this just pretty much the obvious move where we break out from this double top?
I think they kept pumping some more news about Blackwell over the weekend. That's one of the reasons why it's up so much. I don't know if that's the case for sure, but I was seeing a lot of Blackwell news over the weekend about how they've they're back ordered for 12 months.
I wouldn't be shocked if this goes higher here, 13. I think that this needs a pullback here. You got a nice little triangle that's pointing to the upside, double top. I think this goes higher. I mean,
okay. That's it. I won't disagree. I just think it's so overvalued. It's insane.
Me too. I'm trying to make sense of it. I give me complete agreement with you here. Well, the technicals have ruled the day. It sure looks like this wants to keep going.
Let's ignore that comment I just made about it being overvalued, but let's look at one thing that really has me scratching my head. You have TSM that makes their chips. That's getting billions and billions from not just them, but other companies that they're making chips for. Why is that company not in the $1 trillion hand? Well,
I'll tell you what, that company has the exact same chart formation on it, right, on its daily right now. So maybe this one breaks out here too. To your point, though, I think I like TSM more. And
the revenue isn't that far off. Of course, NVIDIA is making more, but TSM, their revenue is not too far off from what NVIDIA is able to produce. And
Jay, sorry,
go ahead.
Jay here saying NVIDIA, I don't see it pulling back that much. The call flow is too strong. Jay, I haven't even really been paying close attention to it, but just a quick glance here, and you're exactly right. I do see NVIDIA call flow on here. Don't see a whole lot in terms of the put side. By the way, CCJ getting some more call flow in here. Think maybe we take this formation out and go higher here, CCJ? China risk is keeping TSM down. Dr. Manred, totally agree. I just think all things removed, TSM seems to be the big winner here. This a key point, though.
But with that in mind, why isn't NVIDIA going down with it? Because if TSM, runs into geopolitical trouble with China, well, then NVIDIA has to go somewhere else for their highest end chips.
You're making too much sense. You're making too much sense.
I'm sorry.
Jensen's got his nice leather jacket on. He's talking about insane demand for Blackwell. We don't have time for this. And I like how Gabe put it here. The sword of Damocles. Someone is reading stuff out here. Love readers. Sword of Damocles hanging over it. Indeed. We'll see if that falls.
So I got a lot of questions about the differences in these the price of these stocks, but it is what it is. I'm not losing money over it. I did not come here for long.
Webcoin, just flat out. Amanda saying energy seems to be on sale today. Actually, I don't even think I've looked at X. Indeed, XLE down. What happened here? There we go.
Yeah, Gabe, they did, but they also said that they admitted that if they did go that route, their chips would be much lower quality. There's no way they are ever going to get the same quality chips that TSM puts out with anybody else.
Until TSM is firmly entrenched here stateside.
No, Jay Rice, I had admitted I was wrong. Been negative on it for longer than 2 or 3 weeks. Been negative on it for a very long time because I don't think this valuation makes any sense. And
I'm with you on that, by the way. You're not alone. I'm with you on that. Genie, Geni. Wasn't this a former Mitch name? I don't know. Let me see. This was split a whole bunch too, I think. This is, this did 3 to, oh no, these are 3 to 1 splits. No. This is back. Huh. Maybe I'm thinking about a different one. Geni though.
Looks like RCAT is about to try to push up higher than 381.
Chris asking if the Qs are rolling over. And so here we go. So this chart looks the rolliest of them. It's not a word. This looks like it is most prone to a potential rollover here than some of the other charts. I'm not sure if we're going to get that here. We're still kind of above the VWAP, but to your point, when we compare this to the SPY obviously much stronger here than the Qs. Maybe the Qs will lead the way to the downside. We'll see.
Not seeing stuff really make significant moves at the moment.
Bitcoin stuff just popping the highs, but to your point, no trade setups on those names. Rolliest or rollish? Okay, Gabe, I can go with that.
It's a London market sell-off.
Oh, is that because the Bears left town? They're just sad to see that happen. Just saying. Sorry, 13. Go ahead.
Wouldn't the Bulls take over if the Bears left town? That market doesn't make sense either.
No, I mean, let's look. It's been a long time since Michael Jordan, so I don't know if the Bulls are going to take over anything. I know that's not what you meant, but that's the way I'm going to play it. So roll on from there.
You know, J. Rice, regarding the valuation for Amazon, I think that's a different case because I think they were not valued correctly for the longest time. I still don't think they're valued correctly.
Also, we're speaking of Amazon really quick here. I don't know if you're going to say this, so I'm just going to jump in here. Also with Amazon, Jeff Bezos toyed with people. He knew exactly what Amazon was doing. And he said, oh, you guys want to see profits? You want to see profits? Well, let me just turn on the profit jets real quick one quarter. And that stopped all the talk about Amazon being overvalued and blah, blah, blah. No, Amazon is an absolute behemoth. And it was just, it took just a couple of quarters for the market to be like, oh, yeah, this is why we're trading this with such high valuations. I get it. Anyway,
Amazon, I don't think they've been correctly valued because they're still looked at mostly as an e-commerce platform. And I think that their Amazon Web Services is, I don't think it's taken into account as heavily as it should be. That's just my opinion, though. I think Amazon should be valued differently based upon what it's doing with cloud services, Amazon Web Services, AI, and all that. But it's an e-commerce platform, so I don't think it's being valued correctly. But that's me.
Man, yes, Ryan, you got it. That's exactly why they're sad. See, I'm glad we agree on these things. It's a victory Monday. We're out here agreeing with each other. Let's go. Let's go.
Christopher Anthony saying Disney fighting that 94.80 resistance. Take a look at Disney.
I can bring that up here. No trade here in Disney. I'd be interested in looking at another short here on Disney, but it's got to flash the signal, and it's not doing it yet.
Yeah, I thought Disney would have at least tested the 50-day SMA once more before coming back up to this level. I think 95 is the real level to get over. We close over that, then we could talk about the 500-day SMA being tested next. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Amanda. XPO
Amazon being
tech stock.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Tesla? Where's Lynn and Rainey?
They're not a car company.
That's Lynn and Randy are going to be clapping, and then Randy's probably on his table dancing, doing the jig after hearing you say that. Sound, by the way, some of you mentioned this one earlier here. SoundHound at the highs.
This one loves to do this. Let me see what levels I have, because it always seems to get that $5 handle, and then it does one of two things. It'll go to 575, or it'll hang out here above 5 and then lose it later on in the day. So the next level I'd be looking for, since we're above this 515 level, is 575. See if it ends up getting there today.
Really quickly here, we've been watching the Bitcoin. I haven't been trading the Bitcoin move recently, but we've been watching it here on this show, and we've been talking about it. And 13, you have brought up Clean Spark a number of times when I've started talking about some of the other Bitcoin names. I got to be honest with you. This is probably one of the better traders on some of those Bitcoin headlines. This stock moves really, really nice. It seems to be one of the ones that's kind of leading the way with some of these other Bitcoin names. I think one of the things I might do is I might trade CLSK more when we start seeing some of these Bitcoin moves. I normally like doing that with Coinbase, but I've kind of stayed away from Coinbase recently. I might try trading, being more active in CLSK. By the way, with Coinbase here, one of the things that I was talking about, this is I'm really happy to see this. The last time that I was on Trader TV, I was telling the guys, hey, if Coinbase gives you a close above the 50-day average, I think that it probably goes up and tries that 200-day. And that was right here. It was on this Friday, actually, and it got rejected. And it actually came back into 162. But look what it's done recently. Aha, we claimed that 50-day. I think we're going to get a close above it here. To my eye here, I think Coinbase tests this 201 level in short order. Now, I'm not going to go buy it right here. Maybe this can actually come back in a little bit here today, but Coinbase to 200 in the next week or two, I think is probably on deck.
Folks asking about Verb. Let's see here. I mean, it still looks like there's more downside to go. Trying to stay above VWAP, but when you look at all these upper shadows it keeps putting in every time it gets above VWAP, that's, to me, that's an indication that it's doesn't have the strength to hold above VWAP. And I would think this ends up going lower.
I'm sorry.
To the point that Anthony was making, the volume is too low. So, but it is very spread. So you could end up getting like one small sale that takes it up like 10 cents. But just you've got to see more consistent movement than that. I'd be careful with this one if you're going to trade it.
The other thing to mention here is that the volume was pretty depressed when this thing was trading sideways here in the 12s. And then as soon as that volume flowed back into it, we had actually a decent trade here. Let's call it 12.90, and this thing moved all the way up to 14 and change. So really this comes down to the volume. The fact that it's holding right here above VWAP, I view this as a positive. If you start to see this volume expand, and it can happen fast, so you probably have to be watching it, but if you start to see this volume expand here on Verb, I think you might have another trade as this thing moves through 14. Carmen, I appreciate this here. Very good idea. Given that electricity is a huge expense, CLSK is probably best positioned to manage that expense. Give it a look and you'll see. That's actually, what's that?
Microgrid.
That's actually good context here. The issue, the trading that I would be doing in this is day trading, so I'd probably put some of this on the back burner, but this might also explain why we're getting some of those outside moves in here. This is really good context.
Shaka, VNDA. I'd have to look and see what the catalyst here is that moved it up this morning in pre-market, but it just looks like it's been going sideways, hanging out.
This was the merger and acquisition rumor.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
okay.
Yep. So this is the one where $8 is the buyout, but nothing's for sure. I think this was an offer, right? Was this an unsolicited offer?
Yes, it was
a
an
proposal.
offer.
Excuse me, proposal to acquire, and it's just not been agreed on.
Right. So that like I think I said this morning, this is kind of like more of a lottery ticket. You could get it down here and hope for $3 more, and then be done. But I don't know what's going to be the rebuttal on that offer. So we'll have to wait and see. But at least it's on our radar. We know that that's something that can end up getting acquired, and we could jump in it before it does if we want to. What do I think about BlackRock's investment in the Texas Stock Exchange? I heard about that.
What?
Because they want to. I think the Texas wants to open up their own exchange,
and they're going to let BlackRock control it.
I don't know about them controlling it, but investing in it to get it off the ground, I could see that. I mean, that's what they're I think he's bringing up here.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys say BlackRock, I get skeptical. I can't help it. RANI, by the way, sorry, 13. I'll have you go back to that. RANI quadruple top right here. This 6 tests of the. I can't get it right. 5 tests of this area up here, just shy of 3. We're back here. RANI.
And David Lynn with some good information on VNDA. Offer was made months ago, just stating it again today. Companies refused it multiple times. So, there you go. Maybe it moves again after it goes lower again. They print that news out again and it sends it back up. That's the only 2 trade catalysts you can see here with this thing. So for me, it's just like let it go. Maybe there's probably something else better to keep your eyes on.
Real quickly, morning, Mike. You're only an hour and 53 minutes late. Not terrible here today. Good morning.
Mike, how you doing, man? You laugh at Texas Exchange, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of companies coming to Texas. Dallas could end up being a new major financial hub of the United States. We already have oil and gas out here, aerospace. I mean, I can see it, but yeah, I think I would agree on a with a little bit of humor there that it might take some time.
Smoke Tuna thinking Rani will go here. DXYZ. Did that have a big move? That's that ETF, right? This thing went to 100. Yeah, it did. I remember that.
ASML bouncing. Oh, Robert is all over ASML. All right, so you think that Rani's gonna? What are we gonna push past 291 here? Is that what the thought is?
Yeah, well, Smoke Tuna seems to think that Rani is going to go at some point today. So I would imagine that means it takes out that area it's tested 5 times already.
Yeah, Chuck, I'd love to see that eventually become a stock, but still private.
I think that will at some point. Well, maybe not. Maybe you would just want to keep it. I don't know.
I could see him coming out and consolidating Tesla and SpaceX and X, formerly known as Twitter. I could see him consolidating all that under one company called X. I could see
that
him
would
doing
be cool.
That.
I think the runway for X is, speaking of which, I think the runway for X is just so huge. I think eventually that's going to be your communication, banking, payment platform, news, chat. I mean, there's so much utility with that. Just unbelievable that a guy steps in, buys it, fires people, makes it better, and operate. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Sorry, what were you mentioning?
New Rainy high, and it looks like he wants to try to take out $3 here. That's
Tuna.
Where a lot of.
Guess what, Tuna? We don't even have to wait. You were right. Way to go, Tuna. Way to go.
So amidst all that discussion, some good trades.
This is a really good Monday. Let me see what we got on the schedule here that should be starting in 4 minutes. That's Victory Monday, baby. How is X better? Literally everything. First of all, they allow people to talk and don't censor. That is without a doubt the biggest thing. Okay, without a doubt. I think that it operates better. I really have no trouble with bots at all. I love X Pro. I love X Premium. It actually works better now that I pay for it than back when it was TweetDeck and it would bug all of the time. And the free-flowing exchange of ideas, way better than it was before. Way better. Really not even comparable.
I have no opinion on X. I think social media is also.
I was going to say, you don't even have an X account. So that's, you're one of the few people that can actually give that and be legit about it.
Yeah. And social media, I already know I'm going to see it. We're going to have a very intense vitriol moment with the election here, and it's going to be all over social media. You guys have fun.
Yeah, but you know what though? You're the point here about there are a lot of negatives to social media. I can get on board for that without a doubt. Like I can totally understand that. But the X, I don't think it's going to be one of those that kind of moves out of that realm. Like I said, there's too much other utility that app can give you where it won't just be considered social media. Really quickly, Zabev here saying X is hate central. 2 things there. Hate is subjective and defined by one individual, and it still has controls to block and remove and curate that content. So to me, that's kind of a throwaway. All right, let me see what we've got here coming up next. We do have Apex Trader here. I'm going to send you over there. 2 minutes to go. The stream will automatically redirect. No work required on your end. And then, of course, we're going to be back tomorrow.
Who's going to win 13? Win what? What's the contest here?
What is the battle?
Yes.
Or the matchup?
What's the engagement?
Are you going to win your fantasy football matchup this week in the Happy Hour League?
across all my different fantasy leagues. I have so many injuries. I'm not sure how I'm going to.
The injuries, dude. This has been an injury-plagued season, at least for my teams. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and then when I replace those folks that have injuries, that person gets injured too. So it hasn't been a great year for me in fantasy football.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Vanda here. David, appreciate this. Vanda just issued a press release about the offer. Vanda's stock price responding to that, confirms receipt of economically indicated unsolicited non-binding proposal from Cycle Group. Board declares it's not in the best interest. This sounds like a formal rejecting of that.
Yep.
Okay, folks, that is going to be it here. Really good stuff here for a Monday, a victory Monday, as we mentioned. We are going to be back at this again tomorrow. Apex Trader is next. I'm sending you over there. 13, any closing words?
Great day today, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.
I love it. Take care, everybody. Stay green, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.